Hello there, release managers and everyone who is actually using the Jira and who are actually familiar with the releases. If you're not really familiar with the releases, don't worry. I will explain to you how actually the releases work themselves. So why we're actually using the releases in Jira. So when you're releasing either a new version of software, such as having a version 1, version 2, alpha, beta, you actually want to have those releases in place. And how you actually have these releases first is on the left sidebar within the development, you will be seeing the releases. If you're not seeing that, you should be going to your project settings, then go to the features, and then search for releases, and then toggle the button on. So we're gonna go for our releases in here. All right. So, what is an important thing to know about the releases and within the Jira itself? It's really important that releases are really tied with the actual versions, and how they are actually tied with the versions themselves within the Jira tickets itself is with a field that is actually being called the fixed version field. Now let me show you how this actually works. As you can see, we have the names of the versions in here. We have the statuses of these releases as well. We also have what are the progress in here. And as you can see, these bars in here, so when you're having these bars and when you have different colors in them, so I'm going to say that when it comes for the gray color, that are most of the issues that are in the to-do status category, the in progress status category, and done status category. Because in Jira, you have three status categories that are these ones that I have mentioned right now. So what actually is going on in here? So when I go and click on the version right here, I'm presented with a release hub right here. Within this release hub, you can actually give a name of this section. You can include the dates, the emojis, even the links themselves. You can include the bullet points, everything that you think that is actually needed in order to get your release right there. What is also important is that you have the statuses of the releases themselves. You have the statuses of the unreleased, release, and something that is also being archived. And when you're actually starting with the release and when you're actually creating the release, the Jira is going to ask you what is going to be the name of that release, what is going to be the start date, what is going to be the actual release date. And when the release date is the logical event that goes in there, when you have that release date, that this status changes to release. Also, as you can see in here, are these tickets that are actually tied with these releases. And how they're actually being tied, as we already said, it's tied with the field named fix versions. So that is one of the things to actually know. So when it comes to releases, you also have the option to create some of the release notes. This is something that I believe that many of us are familiar with. You have like the option, let's say, on the mobile app like Slack. And when there is an update of the app, when you go to either Google Play or your App Store for your iPhone, you're gonna be seeing something like version 1.2. There were some release notes on bug fixes, on UI enhancements, and so on and so forth. That is another thing that you can also do when you want to create some of the release notes. The one thing that makes releases so powerful are the options to actually add some of the deployments. When you add your deployments, you also need to go to the project settings for the features, and also for the operations section, you need to go with the deployments themselves, and you need to actually enable the deployments. Now, what deployments are actually helping us with? The deployments are actually helping us with to basically see when the features are being deployed on certain environments. Like, for example, if we go back for our releases right here, it was, let's go with this release. All right, so in here we have the option of the deployment where it's actually saying, well, this was for the development, and when we actually go to see all of the deployment information, we're seeing that basically the development was actually being done there. The deployment, we can actually see for which release this is also tied with, and mostly that is it, right? Also, one thing that is important to know in here is that when this is actually happening, in order to create this deployment and make this actual deployment work, you can either use the Bitbucket, you can use the GitHub, you can use the GitLab, Bitbucket like CI/CD, which is actually pretty good, GitHub Actions as well. Everything that can actually trigger some deployment action. Yeah, I'm saying actions in here because, yeah, I'm pointing out to the GitHub, for example. But the thing is, yeah, when you actually go for the deployments in here, you actually see what was the deployment. It was actually successful. And when you go back to releases, you're not really getting so much information. Another thing that I want to point out is all of the deployments that I'm actually seeing now. So the staging, for example, and everything else, when I go for this, when I click on this cloud right here, I can say staging, I can see testing, I can see development, and basically that's it. The problem that we're actually being encountered in here is we can only see this on the Jira issue level and nothing else. We cannot actually oversee everything that is going on. So, ladies and gentlemen, proudly presenting to you the app named Golive that is handling this problem. What kind of problem Golive is handling? First, not only you'll be able to actually deploy the Jira issues, but with Golive you can actually deploy your versions as well. That is something that is really important. Now, since you can deploy the versions themselves, let me actually show you how this really works when you start your Golive. When you start your Golive, the first and foremost, what I really recommend for you to do when you're starting out for the very first time, my suggestion is, at least this helped me out a lot, to go through the videos. They're not taking too long. They're like 2 to 3 minutes long, and it's not gonna take a lot of your time because this is like the solution that you might really want to implement, especially when you're working with the release management. Back to the main topic. In here, within this environment dashboard, I can see each each deployment, each environment in here, and it's tied to a specific version in here, and all of these versions in here are clickable. So let me show you. For example, ECP 13.0. So this ECP 13.0, first of all, what I can actually see from here, first of all, the most important thing is when you're looking at this deployment is, first of all, what is the version of it? When you have the specified version, you can also see the issues that are tied with this specific version. So this means when you're actually doing the deployment, you're selecting the version itself. But the more interesting thing in here, that what you're actually doing is you can create a brand new version. And since you're integrating Golive with Jira, everything is automatically synchronized. And when everything is automatically synchronized, all of those releases that you're actually creating from here will be shown in the releases as well. So for example, I'm seeing this, right? So for example, if I go and I want to select 13.1. So let's say 13.3. With the version 13.3, what happens? Automatically, I'm actually seeing the issues that are tied with this specific version itself. So the thing to mention is with the integration, or let's say go live with Jenkins and the other options, all of the information will actually be there. Talking like the commit messages. Yeah, I know I mentioned the Jenkins, but let's go with the GitHub as a more precise example. If you're actually taking a look and having the GitHub as example, all of the Git messages, Git commit messages will actually be there. So the most important thing is to know which version is being deployed for this specific environment, and also which tickets are tied to it. Another thing that you can also see for this specific integration right here is the mapping. And this is how the dependencies are actually working in here. So I'm having two dependencies in here where I'm having the dependency on the ERP integration, for example, and also I'm having the dependency for the CRM example as well. So those are the two things that you can see. Also, you can go with the status logs in here. And for the status logs, what actually this means? This means that you can change these statuses from here. So this up can also be like, now I can say, you know what, this is kind of slow. You can also go with the deployment logs and you can see, okay, what version number, and as you can see, 12.6, 12.10, 12.12, 13 version, and which issues have been added in there. So you get more clear picture. You get more clear picture what version was being deployed and which tickets are connected to it. All right, so the another thing that I believe that is handy for you to understand is this scheduling right here. So we've done the deployments. We know which environments are tied to which versions and which issues are tied with those versions as well. We know what kind of mapping there is, what kind of dependencies we're actually looking at. Also, there's this option that you can see from the Jira option. I will go back to the scheduling just in a second. So for example, I'm having this ticket named missing div, right? So what I can actually do is I can click on the environments right here, and I can actually see now which environments, for which environment was happening. So as you can see, fixed versions, this happened on the staging, and I have the staging right here. Without leaving the Jira, I can also see which issues are tied to this specific version itself. And I can also see the dependencies that are actually been mentioned in here. Without leaving the Jira, I didn't have to leave Jira in order to actually see all of this information, which is awesome. Alright, let me go back to Golive once more. So you have all of these versions in planning with their environments being interconnected with them, and you just want to make sure that there are no really conflicts when it comes to creating like new environments and start working on them. Or you just want to plan in future what will happen. You just want to know what versions to which environments are going to be there. This is why you want to use your scheduling timeline. And within the scheduling timeline, for example, I have the demo, and for the demo I can actually see that basically this event hasn't started yet, so it's gonna be tomorrow. So this is something that has been planned in the upfront. The interesting thing in here is when you're having the scheduling up front, what you also need to have is, when I go for this option in here, is this right here needs to be approved. And with this, when this is actually approved, you can actually see that that status is being reflected in here as well. So you can actually know that you can start working on that specific version. Another thing that I need to mention as well, yes, the deployments are available on the Jira Cloud Jira Cloud, and the deployments are also available for the Jira data center. What actually this means? This means, and if the question is the Golive also available for the Jira data center? The answer is yes, of course it is. Alright guys, so this was the cover for the Golive application developed by AppWide. Thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.